I can't remember. We're getting pretty close to 100. I hope you've had a good day and a good weekend. This was supposed to be released on Monday, so I apologize. Tuesday video. Today's May 20th, 2025. And so for these videos, as you probably know, we look at the weekly perspective for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. We will also cover Bitcoin dominance chart, total market cap 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to be this rotation for this video. For next week, we will probably start covering more altcoins. We might, typically we had in the past we had covered Sui, and Dogecoin, and some other ones. I believe Binance Coin. Um, we took those out when the market got kind of dull, and now the market's getting more exciting again. We'll cover those next week. So, anyway, the introduction for this is going to be about the gains that we have made for the past couple weeks and how we should react to the markets given what we have this week and going forward. So, with that being said, let's get started. Two brief things as we get into this video. First of all, I have a trading group called Aroon Pro Trading. This used to be called Apex Trading. I'm really trying to push hard on my Apex Pro stuff, get that knowledge out there about how useful Aroon is. And so this is a group, if you would like to join, you're more than welcome to do it. I will leave a link in the description on YouTube. If you're on X, I'll leave, my link is in my bio for that one. So go ahead and check that out. I'm actually doing a promo as well, 50% off for the first month. I don't think there's any expiration on that as far as I know. So if you want to try it, you can go ahead and try it. This is a video that we just recently put out about 26 minutes ago. It's about a 25-minute video as well. This one's a little bit bigger than normal. Give you some ideas on that to kind of see what we cover. We tend to cover about 5 videos per week. We also have trading bots. Those are in Discord if you want access to those. Educational videos. We have some new we have a new trading portfolio as well where we cover like DeFi coins on different networks, things like that. So there's quite a lot for every for any type of trader, and really the whole goal is to learn how to trade better. So anyway, that's the first thing. The second brief thing is I made a partnership with Blowfin, and I'm going to leave a link in the description for a promo where you can get a deposit bonus. And unfortunately, I don't know the details of that bonus at this moment, but I'll try to put them into the description if that. So if you are interested, check out Blowfin. I just started trading on it, earlier, and I have a lot of people that actually have recommended it to me, and so go ahead and check that out. It's pretty much my first partnership. Technically, it's my second, but being a little more active with this, they were a little more accepting to terms that I was okay with. And so, anyway, if you're interested, link is in the description. Let's get started. Now, as far as Bitcoin goes, the whole point of this video is, it's titled Enjoy the Gains. And the whole point of this is that at this stage in the market, there's going to be a different understanding of where the market is. Some people believe that we are on the cusp of a breakout, which we could be. I think all of these could be true, that we're on the cusp of a breakout, or that we are going to reject here and go downwards, even extremely downwards. That is a possibility as well, that we could chop, which is kind of where I'm at. I think this is going to be a little bit neutral. But the idea here is, where is the majority? And I think the majority of people here have forgotten about like where we were, and I'll use Bitcoin right here just roughly as a historical idea, not necessarily a price, but right here, back in December, people were pretty excited, but we had people assumed or whatever the tariffs had an issue with, for the reason why we were going downwards, and whether it was or it wasn't, that was the mentality that we had. Not a lot of people very interested buying here at the 70,000 range, but the markets disagreed with this. You guys know I had an entry level right here at about 79,200 roughly. And we took profits right at 106,400. This is a documented trade I've done on X. I went into more detail in my Aroon trading group, where I pretty much snagged the bottom and I took profit at the top. I mean, we also did this with Ethereum and Solana. We also did this with Eigenlayer. Where's it at here? Was not prepared as much as I thought I was. I can't find it. There it is. Eigenlayer. This is one where we took profits up here. Win token was another one. There's a lot of other tokens, and Bonk was one. We took profits across the board. And so here's a little bit of a tidbit here on Discord. I went ahead and covered the side of it, cropped it out for, just to protect a lot of premium member things. But here's some of the things that we did. For Dogecoin, we ran 14%, Bonk 17, Hype 27. These are all active trades that we did. You can ask anybody in premium. This is something that we've been doing for like 3 or 4 months now. CAS was 28%. ENS, which people don't even talk about, was at 18. Agen was the 57 we looked at. WIF was 139. Ray was 36. Woo was 43. So we're all kind of all over the board there. So I apologize. You know, um, uh, here's closed trades in particular. This is what we did. You can pause this and look at this. And then, these are trades that we had no entry, but nothing really happened either way. I think we had one maybe that stopped out. Yeah, it was GMT, I believe. And so, anyway, you can pause it to get the details of that. But the reason I wanted to bring that up is because we were active. We've been active all year, but for the past 3 weeks, we had been active into trades where we started adding trades and trying to scale out or take full profits. In addition to that, the Bitcoin trade, and again, I posted this on X and Discord. This was a public trade that I did. I bought right here, so roughly like April 9th, 10th, somewhere in this. I'll even say April 12th because I did do two trades. I think one was up here, one was down here at the deviation, one was here at the reclaim, and so we were in this for how long? Let's see. Let's just say the 12th, 38 days. So let's say 36 because I closed it a couple days ago. Um, this is the time frame that I'm looking at. 36 days that we were in this. And by day 30, people were just now trying to trade. When we got to this candle right here on May 8th, roughly, that's when people started to get excited. So about 26 days into my trade, people started to say like, well, maybe I should start trading because Bitcoin looks pretty good. The market looks pretty good. But that's exactly I mean, I shouldn't say it's a bad mentality, but this is exactly where things are starting to kind of taper off. Because once you got this here, you had the pump up. It was good for a couple days, but then we breached up here May 18th, and now we have a divergence in play. This trade is, in my opinion, already over. Okay, and so this is the difference between this. This is not an analysis on Bitcoin. This is an analysis on the psychology of why it's so important to get in early. Because I got in early, my group got in early. I posted this early. There wasn't a lot of engagement. Now there is. Now I'm getting much more engagement now that I've already closed the trade or got close to closing the trade like a week ago than I did when I first started. Okay, and that's a problem. It's a very big problem in the market because people just don't want to take the risk. And honestly, you just have to, whether you agree with me or not, like you have to take the risk to get the rewards. Okay, because right now, people are trying to trade this. Let's say you try to trade this right here. Let's say you put your stop loss there at the closing candle. I mean, you're struggling right now. You're still in profits, but you're struggling. Like if I was this low to my break even target with a divergence, I would be canceling this. And even if you got above, you know, the three was it 3 or 5 hour that I was looking at, you're still looking at like 125,000 plus. Okay, and so it literally pays to get in early. It literally pays to look for these opportunities at lows, where things are recovering. Forget the tariffs, forget the news. Walmart just said they're going to raise the prices. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Look at the charts, okay, and see what the charts are telling you, because that's how I got in early. And like I said with the title, enjoy the gains. We have gained profits in our group. We are enjoying we are reaping the benefits of those gains, of those trades that we have done, the ones that I just showed you a couple minutes ago. And there are some people, and I'm not dissing on anybody, but there's some people that just started entering trades a week ago or less that are not enjoying gains, that are struggling. They're wanting the market to go up when kind of looks like it's going to be chopping between 98,000 and 106,000, which we'll get into in the Bitcoin section. Um, and that's going to be frustrating for some people because we could come back down to mid 90s. We could go down to high 80s. Okay. And if we do, there's a plan for that. I know some bears probably want that, I'm sure. But you see what I'm saying? I don't know if this is coming across properly, but it pays to be early. We are reaping the benefits. And that's not a brag or nothing. I'm just saying you got to stay a few steps ahead of the charts. That's how we were able to snag early. That's how we were able to take profits when everybody is excited. Like people are excited that not as much as it should be, but people are excited that Bitcoin's at 105,000. But I mean, I'm excited that price is that high, but I've also taken profits where like that's the reason I'm happy is because I realized my P&L. Okay? So that's the situation that you should be in. You should never be putting yourself into a position where you don't know what to expect, just like this. Bitcoin could go to 124,000, could go to 24,000. And probably not, but you know what I'm saying. See what I'm saying? Like you got to be proactive with your trades. Find that system. And then you can be in a position where, okay, um, you enter a trade. Like, do you think I was comfortable at this? Not really. I was confident, but that doesn't mean I wasn't nervous. But then we got back up here. It's good to go. We can relax this week. So anyway, it's kind of a theme, I guess, for the video and kind of an explanation for that. Um, Again, kind of a small recap with that. Try to be preemptive with your trades. Find a system that can work for you and activate that system regardless of emotions, regardless of tariffs. Stop listening to these high influencers that, to be honest with you, most of them are just like you. That maybe, like let's say you don't know, let's just say you may not think you're a good trader. They're probably not good traders either. Like there's nothing different than them besides you probably from a trading aspect. They just know how to market themselves. High influencers just know how to market themselves. That's why they have so many followers. And there are I could tell you a lot of high followers with that are good traders. But that doesn't mean all of them are. So just be careful with that. So anyway, let's go to the next section. I'm going to cover the Bitcoin dominance and total market caps. All right, let's go on to the Bitcoin dominance chart. I kind of want to give this kind of an overview with this before we get into the total market cap. So one thing I looked at from previous videos is that we had this big framework from the 60 dominance to the 70 dominance. Looking for that rejection at 65. We basically got it. We're trying to go to a little bit up move here. We'll see how this goes. I can tell you right now, based off of the structure of the RSI, if we do go back above 65, this is going to be a divergence. And so doesn't necessarily mean much, to be honest with you. We do already have one here on the 2 week chart. I do think this is going to come back down. And so we'll see how this goes. It certainly could come back down to 60 and then bounce. If we go below 60, I think that's where altcoins start to run, where we get that altcoin season. And so we'll see how that goes. We've had a pretty good channel so far with this. And honestly, it's really just going to be a break of the channel if we can break below the zone. Actually, it's more of a fan, but you understand what I'm saying. Breaking below 60 is going to be that trigger. Otherwise, we're doing just fine. Let's go to total market cap. Now, this is including Bitcoin here. And I'm going to try to get rid of all this here, chicken scratch, and then apply this same market. And so that's kind of where we're at now. We're kind of at a retest point with this. You could tell with the fib block on this level from top here, bottom here, kind of not quite a rejection, but kind of a standstill. We have a bearish wedge that's kind of getting slimmer and slimmer. That's not really it's kind of a neutral sign. It's probably slightly bullish, I would say, because the bears are going to cross super low at 17 18% or below, and that's good. The lower it is on the cross, the less effect it tends to have. So, but not always, because this one, it was a key one. This actually crossed up. Now this one's a little bit different because it did cross higher than the bearish one, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Sometimes it is relative, not always, but sometimes, especially in higher time frames, it can be. So The structure on this, we really need to get above that 3.4 trillion on that. As far as this goes, this is a pretty good level. We had a reclaim bounce right here, right at the support zone. This is pretty solid. I'm not really going to do TA on this, but we can break above this zone at 3.3. We'll get to the 3.4, possibly 3.6. And that should be good for across the market because it's total market cap, right? So it's not really agnostic, or it is agnostic, I should say, versus Bitcoin. So let's go to total two. See how this looks without Bitcoin. And this still looks pretty good. It looks better than what it did before. But we're still right at this resistance. Need to break above that zone. Ethereum's probably weighing this down a little bit. We'll see in total three if it really is or not. But you got the bullish wedge instead, and you got to break above the RSI. This tells me that if you exclude Bitcoin, although the total market cap looks better with BTC than without BTC, this looks like this will be better going forward, if that makes sense. So total market cap looks better from the previous 60 days, let's say. This looks better for the next 60 days, which makes me which makes me think that we will get an altcoin season. And so we'll see. I do think it's pretty much coming. I think that we might get a chop this week, possibly to the end of the month, and then we'll resume in June, July. And then we'll have I think we'll have a pretty good summer. So going to total three, here's without Ethereum. This actually looks really good. Still within this resistance. It is a little bit stronger without Ethereum, but not by much. Still needs to reclaim this level here, about 921. But you can definitely tell you have a high bullish cross. That's really good. So no bearish wedge. Now with the wedge, if we go back to total two, you do have a wedge. This could cross at some point. Right now it's at 57 on the bear side. So this could be a high bullish cross, but we don't know yet. This is looking pretty decent. It's got a bullish consolidation. With total three, you have a full bullish cross already, high bullish cross above the RSI. This also makes me think that altcoins will run without Ethereum. And I would prefer if Ethereum did run with it. We could check CoinMarketCap to see where we are with the market caps. But, there was news today that said USDT, which is not really a coin that people use, but there's more volume on the Tron network for USDT than there is on Ethereum. And that's kind of embarrassing. In 2025, to have Tron have that kind of a lead. And so anyway, we'll see where it goes. I think altcoins look like they're going to run here. I think Solana ecosystem in particular is going to run. I think Sui ecosystem is going to be an underdog as well. I think meme coins are going to also be an underdog. People have kind of dismissed meme coins. I'm not sure why. Because they're a perfect utility of just having fun while you trade. So, and that's the total market cap 1, 2, 3 in Bitcoin dominance. Go ahead and go to coin market cap here, and I kind of want to just look at things. I just briefly want to look at the market cap as well, just some extra commentary for the week. Market cap right here is about 306 billion. Okay, Tether is about half of that, right? Solana's got a way to go. It's only about 87 billion, so it's much. I actually thought it was much closer than this, and this is very interesting. And obviously, nothing's going to beat 2 trillion on Bitcoin. Not even close right now. This makes me think that Solana is going to be a better deal than Ethereum. I I, I just think so. Because you're about a 3x away or 300% away from this. This could be an easy 300%. If I'm not saying it's going to flip. I think there's a very good chance that it could. Um, but I think that's just something to keep in mind. I actually thought Solana was higher than this. This makes me think that Solana is undervalued, or Ethereum is a little bit overvalued. I don't. I think Solana's undervalued. I think Ethereum is still priced just fine. I'm not a big fan of Ethereum as much as I used to be, but it's still valuable in its own right. So, just something to keep in mind with that. Dogecoin's only at 33 million. It's certainly, it's got 2 or 3x to go, or 3 or 4x, I should say, to get to Solana. And we'll see. But Tron, I mean, you have USDT on Tron with only 25 million, beating one that's 300 billion. I meant to say billion. Not sure what I said, but a little embarrassing in my opinion, but just some added commentary. So let's go ahead and go to the charts and look at the weekly perspectives. All right, so let's get started here on Bitcoin. So first of all, we have the weekly situation here. I've already have this marked out. This is a swing high order block. Basically, this is when the bottom part reaches the close of the previous high, and then the top of this is going to be basically the top of the wicks. And so that helps us identify the supply and demand of the wick structure. So we have that. We retested basically the middle of that at the moment. So that's kind of your insight for the price action. As far as Aroon goes, you're at a high bullish cross, about 64, 66%, so doing pretty good. That's ideally where you want to be at. RSI is well above the range that we need, and so that's all good and well. So as far as price action goes, things are looking pretty good. And also, this is the highest price close that we've had for the weekly, and that's pretty significant. I don't think people really understand really the nature of that. Now, what's interesting too is that we did not get a divergence on the 2 week. We could have, but it actually closed underneath, and I think that's very interesting here. And so we kind of prevented that, I should say. And the markets are still looking pretty good here. I don't think, there's nothing to be concerned here on high time frame. I think that we could chop here, which we'll look at in a second on the daily, but this is still pretty solid. If you go down to the daily structure here, I'm going to switch over to the other chart here to kind of give an idea of what I'm looking at from our chicken scratch earlier. This is the range I'm looking at for the daily. Now, those two are basically the bounds of the other markers. So I'll get rid of these just for clarity's sake. We do have the divergence here on the daily. And this is a key consideration. This is basically weakness. I think it's just as simple as that. I think people that laugh at me and mock me will show me your P&L, I guess. But not trying to be confrontational, but it's worked for me. So you do what works for you, and I'll do the same. But as far as this goes, divergence here, it's already starting to creep down just a little bit. But I think this is the range that we're looking at: 106.5 top side, 98. 2.5 for the downside. The mid level here is about 102.400. That's kind of where I think that we'll go here in the next couple days. And we'll see how that works. But we're still within this range here. And I actually think this is a good thing. This is a very healthy thing, in my opinion, because this will give us some consolidation for a potential run going into the summer of 2025. If you notice here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullish candles, and we don't typically get that many in a row. We had about 4 here, and I think we had a bearish candle here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 8 right there. And so we could get something like this where we kind of push up and consolidate against the band. If we do, it's probably going to be the same situation here. And so we'll see where that goes. We've expanded pretty greatly with considering how bearish this band has been. And I'm trying to look and see, this is kind of what we've gone through before. So where we could get a retest back into the band structure and come back up. If we do, that's going to be right now at about 94, 577. So just keep that in mind. I think that, again, I think that we're going to chop this week. I think that's a good thing that we're going to chop this week. And keep in mind, like, things are bullish on the weekly, high bullish cross. Everything looks good on the weekly. We're still in a bullish trend on the 2 week. So everything is looking pretty good on higher time frames. It just might need to take some time. We've been in a trend on the monthly ever since August of 2023, believe it or not. And we are getting a bear div here on the monthly. So just keep that in mind. We don't tend to get that too much. We actually got that on the top of the previous cycle, but we're still pretty low on the RSI here. We're not above the 80% marker. We're well below it. So we'll see where that goes. Keep in mind, too, we have 11 days to figure this out. So if we drop back below the 102 level, this is not a divergence. So just keep that in mind. So far, none of this is a divergence. Really just makes me think that we will come back below that 102 range. And it's the same range, basically. So I think that we'll get that by the end of May. We still have about, 10 days left, so or 11 days left, so plenty of time to do it. I think that we'll manage that. So that is Bitcoin. Let's go to Ethereum. All right, so Ethereum here on the weekly, and we had a push up against from the $1,500 range, now into the 2,500. Very quickly, we got that $1,000 marker. But honestly, not that quickly. It was a little bit over a month. You had plenty of time to look at this. Now, the good news is from an Aroon perspective, we're starting to curl up here, trying to get that bullish cross. This would be a 57% cross if it did it this week. I don't think that we're going to do it this week, but something to keep in mind. RSI is above 50, so that's really good. From a from price action perspective, it's a little bit not bearish, but kind of neutral. We're still trying to get above this zone. We closed below this zone, currently above it for this one. That's pretty much the mission for Ethereum for this week. Get above this, 2531 or higher. If we can do that, I think we have a good chance to go to the threes and the fours even. But just keep in mind, this is also a weekly perspective, so this may take some time. And that's pretty much it for Ethereum on that. You do have a bearish divergence on the daily, struggling, or it's doing well against the band, I should say. Just needs to hold this zone. Okay, if it can hold this, especially on the weekly, I think this presents a very good long signal. I'm going to go ahead and go to Solana as well, just cover this all in one go. And so with Solana here on the weekly, same you have a bearish retest here for the price action. Really just needs to get above that $180 range, about 179 and 97. You have a bullish wedge here that's looking pretty good. It should give us a push up at some point. Would not be surprised if we actually drop back down, consolidate to 147, and then bounce back up after that. I think a lot of this all like there's two different perspectives right now. One, I do think that we're going to have a slight bearish chop for the next 7 to 10 days. Really, maybe to the end of the month. But then after that, I think that we're going to recover. So this is going to depend on how you look at this. Are you looking at the next 10 days? Then this is bearish. If you're looking at the summer, then I think this is bullish. And you just need to understand that perspective, that time frame with that, right? And so that will affect your trades, what targets you want, your allocation, things like that. So with sorry, my throat's getting a little raspy here. So I'll end this here pretty quickly, but Solana needs to get above that 180 marker. Probably going to get that drop there on that. So daily here, you also have a bearish div. A lot of these have bearish divs that are very close to the 80 marker on RSI. That's why we took profits on a lot of these coins as well, because we have weaknesses at these levels. It makes sense that we are going to get a drop, in my opinion. This is not looking pretty good, still within the band. Makes me think that we're going to hit this breaker here at 152. So we'll probably wick down to that 147, hold the 152, and that would be my target to rally from there. So that's kind of Solana, a little bit insight with that. So anyway, that is the video. So overall, I do think things still look really good. I think things look amazingly well. But like I said earlier in this video, I think the time to take profits is here. Not necessarily 100% profits, but the trades that we have made over the past few weeks, especially in our group, we are reaping the benefits of that. And I think the main consideration, whether you entered back then or now, is that from this level here, basically from this big marker I have from April and early May, this is a very big trend move, right? And so this shows you that you can make a pretty big price swing in a little amount of time. That's where you should be having your opportunities. Going back from this marker here back in early 2025, or it is still is 2025, back in like December to like February, you wouldn't have made a lot of money, very choppy. And this is not a good time to trade, right? So that's the key consideration, is to understand when things are going to start having opportunities to break out. You're not always going to be right? Not always going to be wrong either. You got to figure out how to navigate through what is a trend and what is a range. That's going to help you quite a bit. And if you can, then you can take those gains like I was mentioning earlier. So anyway, that is the video. I thank you for watching. If you watched this long, I'm happy to get any comments on the video. If you like what you see, go ahead, like, subscribe, and I thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day.